When a veteran undergoes heart valve replacement surgery, the VA assigns a 100% disability rating from the date of the procedure. Most veterans know they had surgery. What they do not know is that the 100% rating has a timeline, that a reevaluation is scheduled 6 months after discharge, and that the rating they receive after that reevaluation depends entirely on how well they document their symptoms at the compensation and pension exam.
Emma. Last episode, we covered deep vein thrombosis and pulmonary embolism in the cardiovascular block. Today, we are focused on heart valve disease, rated under diagnostic code 7000. The VA evaluates any of the 4 heart valves, which are the mitral, aortic, tricuspid, and pulmonic valves, under this code when they are diseased, damaged, repaired, or replaced.
Fatima. The rating system for heart valve disease uses metabolic equivalence of task, which is abbreviated METS, to measure how much physical exertion a veteran can sustain without triggering cardiovascular symptoms like chest pain, shortness of breath, or fatigue. The lower the METS capacity, the higher the disability rating. It is a functional measurement, not a structural one.
Fenrir. There is an important distinction between mechanical and bioprosthetic valves that affects the VA rating picture. Mechanical valves are durable but require lifelong anticoagulation therapy, meaning blood thinners, to prevent clots from forming on the valve. Bioprosthetic valves, made from animal tissue, may not require permanent anticoagulation but have a shorter functional lifespan before they may need replacement.
George. Rheumatic heart disease is one of the most important service connection pathways for valvular disease. Rheumatic fever follows a group, a streptococcal infection, and repeated strep infections during service, particularly in crowded barracks, training environments, or deployments, can cause cumulative damage to the heart valves that leads to valvular disease decades later. That in-service infection history is evidence the VA is required to consider.
Give me a moment to put names on the voices.
Emma here. I will ask dumb-sounding questions that are not dumb.
Fatima here. I will ask how this lands in a different language before I trust it in this one.
At Fenrir here, I go looking for the assumption nobody questions.
George here. The lesson usually costs a decade. I will save you a few years.
The panel is loaded. Pulling the trigger.
The METS rating scale under DC 7000 has 4 levels. 3 METS or less earns a 100% rating because that level of limitation means the veteran cannot perform even basic household tasks without symptoms. 3 to 5 METS earns 60%, meaning significant limitation on sustained activity. 5 to 7 METS earns 30%, and above 7 METS earns 10%.
The post-valve replacement 100% rating begins on the date of surgery and runs until the VA schedules the 6-month re-examination after hospital discharge. Turns out that many veterans are not told about this mandatory re-examination, which means the VA may reduce the 100% rating without the veteran being fully prepared to document their ongoing functional limitations. Emma, that 6-month window is one of the most important deadlines in this series.
The anticoagulation requirement for mechanical valves creates an ongoing rateable condition, even after the initial post-surgical evaluation. A veteran with a mechanical valve who takes warfarin or a direct oral anticoagulant for life is managing a condition with daily medication, routine monitoring, dietary restrictions, and bleeding risk. That ongoing treatment burden is evidence of a continuing disability.
Bioprosthetic valves present a different long-term picture. Biological tissue valves typically last 15 to 20 years before they begin to degrade, and veterans who received a bioprosthetic replacement in their 40s or 50s may face a second replacement in their 60s or 70s. Each replacement surgery resets the 100% rating clock, and the re-evaluation after the second replacement is as important as the first.
At the compensation and pension exam, the METS assessment is typically conducted through a treadmill stress test or through the examiner's evaluation of the veteran's functional capacity based on reported activity levels. The veteran should bring a written account of what activities trigger symptoms, how far they can walk before chest pain or shortness of breath begins, and whether those symptoms have changed since the surgery.
Rheumatic heart disease follows a specific biological chain. Group A, streptococcal infection, if inadequately treated, can trigger an autoimmune response called rheumatic fever. That inflammatory response attacks the heart valves over time, gradually scarring and thickening the valve leaflets until they no longer open and close properly. The disease progresses slowly, which is why a veteran might not develop symptomatic valve disease until decades after the original infection.
The evidence the VA needs for a rheumatic fever pathway is documentation that streptococcal infections occurred during service, sick call visits for sore throat, treatment with antibiotics for strep, or a barracks outbreak documented in unit records all establish the in-service exposure. A physician's opinion linking repeated strep infections during service to the eventual valvular damage closes the nexus. Fatima, that temporal gap between service and diagnosis, is not automatically disqualifying.
Direct service connection through traumatic valve injury is less common but applies in cases involving blast overpressure from explosions, penetrating chest wounds, or blunt force trauma to the chest during a vehicle accident or training incident. If the in-service medical records document a chest injury and the valvular disease developed in temporal relationship to that injury, the nexus may be direct rather than requiring the rheumatic fever chain.
Secondary service connection through hypertension is also available for valve disease. Chronically elevated blood pressure forces the left ventricle to work harder, placing excess mechanical stress on the aortic and mitral valves over time. A veteran with service-connected hypertension can argue that the valve disease is secondary to the pressure-related mechanical damage to the valve structure.
The nexus letter for valvular heart disease through the rheumatic fever pathway needs to address the biological chain explicitly. The physician should document the strep infection history from service records, the mechanism by which repeated infection leads to rheumatic damage, and the medical literature supporting that connection. A letter that names the specific service treatment records and cites peer-reviewed cardiology literature is the strongest form of this evidence.
A veteran with a mechanical heart valve who requires lifelong anticoagulation therapy has two distinct rateable conditions: the valvular disease itself and the anticoagulation requirement. The ongoing need for blood thinners represents a continuous medical burden with real functional limitations, including dietary restrictions, regular lab monitoring, and risk of bleeding complications. That burden is separately documentable and separately rateable.
The bleeding risk associated with anticoagulation is a genuine functional limitation. A veteran on long-term warfarin cannot engage in contact sports, must be cautious about any invasive medical or dental procedures, and is at risk for serious bleeding from minor injuries that would be trivial in someone not on blood thinners. Those restrictions affect employability and quality of life in ways the VA is required to consider.
A veteran with service-connected valvular heart disease, service-connected hypertension, and a mechanical valve requiring anticoagulation can receive separate ratings for each condition because they are distinct diagnostic entities with distinct functional impacts. The anti-pyramiding rule does not prevent multiple cardiovascular ratings when the conditions affect different aspects of cardiac function. Think of it like building a combined rating from multiple independent components.
Veterans whose combined cardiac and related ratings approach 70% may qualify for Total Disability Individual Unemployability, or TDIU. George, that threshold matters because the combination of valvular disease, anticoagulation management, and any other service-connected conditions can push a veteran over 70% total, and TDIU can bring compensation to the 100% level regardless of the scheduler rating.
For context on what these rating levels mean in dollars in 2026, a 30% rating for a single veteran is $524.31 per month. 60% is $1,803.19.65 per month. And 100% is $3,707.85 per month. The jump from the post-surgical 60 to the 100% level is significant. A complete heart valve claim package needs 4 core documents. First, the diagnosis and treatment records documenting the specific valve affected, the severity of the disease, and any surgical interventions. Second, the surgical report if a replacement or repair was performed, because it establishes the effective date of the 100% rating. Third, the nexus letter connecting the valve disease to service through whichever pathway applies. Fourth, the VA, Form 21, 526EZ, listing each rateable condition on its own line.
The operative report from the valve replacement surgery is the document that locks in the effective date of the 100% rating. Good point, Erica. And the surgical report will specify whether the valve was repaired or replaced, whether a mechanical or bioprosthetic valve was used, and the clinical severity that required the intervention. That document should be requested from the treating hospital and included in every claim package.
For the rheumatic fever pathway, the nexus letter needs to document the strep infection history from service records, cite the medical literature on rheumatic fever and valvular sequelae, and state that the in-service infections are at least as likely as not the cause of the veteran's valvular disease. Service treatment records showing sick call visits for sore throat or antibiotic prescriptions during service are the foundation of this evidence chain.
A veteran's service organization can be especially valuable for heart valve claims because the surgical rating timeline, the anticoagulation as a separate condition, and the potential secondary claims all require careful coordination. Drop in the comments. Did you have a heart valve replacement or repair? And did you know the VA assigns a 100% rating from the date of surgery? A VSO will review the whole claim picture for free.
Imagine a veteran who had repeated strep throat infections during 3 years of barracks life, was treated each time at a military clinic, and 30 years later required mitral valve replacement surgery. Those military clinic records, combined with a cardiologist's opinion letter citing the rheumatic fever chain, are the bridge between service and surgery. If you forget everything else in this video, remember, a documented in-service infection history can be the foundation for a valvular disease claim decades after service ends.
Okay, it is quiz time. Let's find out what's stuck. Think through each question carefully before you answer.
A like and subscribe takes less time than reading this sentence. Do it now and help us reach more learners.
What disability rating percentage does the VA assign under DC 7000 when a veteran has a METS capacity of 3 to 5 metabolic equivalents? The correct answer is D, 60%, because a METS capacity of 3 to 5 indicates significant limitation on sustained physical activity.
When is a veteran with a prosthetic heart valve scheduled for their first VA re-examination after surgery? The correct answer is B, Jess. 6 months following hospital discharge from the valve replacement surgery.
Chi. What in-service evidence best supports a rheumatic fever pathway to service connection for heart valve disease? The correct answer is D. Service treatment records showing sick call visits for strep throat and antibiotic treatment during active duty, combined with a physician opinion linking those infections to valvular damage.
Today's key takeaway, heart valve disease under DC 7000, is rated on METS capacity, and valve replacement surgery triggers a 100% rating from the date of surgery, followed by a mandatory reevaluation 6 months after discharge. Veterans with rheumatic heart disease from in-service strep infections and those with service-connected hypertension both have viable pathways to service connection.
3 years from now, you will thank yourself for pulling those sick call records from service, getting that physician opinion letter, and filing the valve disease claim that traces back further than you realized.
And next episode covers coronary artery disease for veterans without Agent Orange exposure. Wait until you see how multiple service-connected conditions can chain together to establish CAD service connection for veterans who cannot use the presumptive pathway.
If this episode helped you understand heart valve VA claims, subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next episode in the VA Benefits series.
Keep studying.
For Professor Erica and the whole panel, I am signing off. See you in the next one.